know that common sense is not so common anymore. To the grown-ups, we must model what we want to see our children become. Secondly, there is the education of spiritual sense. Committee, when you asked me to speak, you knew I was going to talk about the spiritual part. The kind that teaches us to do unto others as we would have them do unto us. The kind of spiritual education that speaks to the heart of man. Don't judge others unless you want to be judged. The kind that says you didn't make it on your own. Somebody paved the way for you. The kind that said somebody prayed for you. The kind that says don't worry about evildoers, for they shall soon be cut down. The kind that says study to show yourself approved unto God, a workman that need not to be ashamed, but rightly dividing the word of truth. The kind that says even if you come from poor, undereducated parents, you can still make it. And you know what? I may have come from what people call nobody, but the spiritual sense says God will take care of you. Because it's not where you come from that determines your destiny, but it's where you're going. When you are grounded in common sense and in spiritual sense, then you can have the education of book sense. Book sense. The kind that says go to school and behave yourself when you get there. Sometimes I fear that we confuse education with babysitting services. To get book sense and an education, you have to have a determination. Be determined to go to school. Be determined to be ready to learn. And be on time for school. Be prepared. That's for educators and students. Be disciplined. As an educator, we cannot teach you if you're not disciplined. Students, be greedy with your education. Glean all that you can. After all, what is school for? It is not for the educators to struggle to get the students to learn. It is not for us to struggle to get them to focus. Lately in our community, we've called community leaders together. We've called teachers together. We've called churches together. And now I'm calling parents together. Let's pull our children together. And let's do what we need to do. But not only parents, we need children to make a decision. We can't pour the education in your head. But all you've got to do is come to school and want to learn. So students, where are you in the process? Do you want more? Do you want to be prosperous? Do you want to have access to a global society? Then just do it. Do it. The road to prosperity calls for common sense. It calls for spiritual sense. And it calls for book sense. And when we get all of these things together, we will have people like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We will have people like President Barack Obama. We will have people like Condoleezza Rice. We will have people like Mayor Percy Bland. We will have people like Dr. Charles Johnson. We will have Supervisor Joe Norwood. We will have councilmen and women like Dustin Markham and Kim Houston. We will have doctors like Perry Wallace. We will have Mr. Ron Turners. We will have Ricky Hood and Rodney too. We will have people when we decide that we're going to put ourselves together as a community, not working as one little group here and one little group there. It takes all of us to make the pie what it is. And as an educator, I want to encourage us, let's do our part. Because when we put all of those things together, here's what you'll get. You'll get a humble girl from Huntsville, Alabama, named Rosalind Christine, the fourth of 11 children, born to Willie James and Lucille Flanagan. Parents who had no education, but they had common sense. And they said, you will go to school and you will behave. Even when we went to school, I was spat on. But you know what? Mama said that don't make you. You're going to get an education and you're going to be somebody. Once you determine that, here I am standing here today before all of you. There were thousands thousands of people that they could have asked to come. But I stand here, the sister of Cynthia, Helene, and Tanya, the sister of Terry, Jeffrey, Gerald, Everett, Craig, Byron, and Brian, the wife of the wonderful Dr. Zachary Sebastian Operton, the mother who buried 2 of her sons. But today I stand before you, the mother of 518 Parkview Mustang children. I stand before you today, not because of myself, but because I've stood on the shoulders of many people who couldn't even go to school. How dare I take the sacrifices they made and squander those sacrifices? I'm standing here today, not because of who I am, but because of who he is. And I promise him that I will give him the praise. I will give him the glory, and I will give him the honor. We're here today. And many of our students we have forgotten, or maybe we haven't been taught. We have gotten so caught up in a test score that we have forgotten we're teaching children. We're not teaching a test. We are teaching children. But children, I will say, if I have you in my school for 9 months, you need to move up on that test. That's how we measure you. So we're asking you, community, let's do our part. Churches, let's do our part. Parents, let's do our part. I'm going to take a little sidebar here. But I invited my parents to come to Parkview. You've heard about the reading test. Our superintendent has been all over talking about that reading exam. I called my 3rd grade parents back in October. I sent letters home. I had less than 12. Again on last week we sent letters home. We sent out a clarion call. Again I had less than 12. Let me tell you something. We need everybody to do their part if we want our children to be successful. So don't come to me because somebody said their mama was ugly. I don't want to hear that nonsense. They call me and my mama ugly too. But like I told my children, I'm cute and I know I'm cute. We need somebody with a backbone. I'm not worried about what somebody calls you. So parents, when you go to the school, go find out what reading level your child is on. Let's go find out how well our children are doing in school. Let's not go talking about who's mama, who's talking about who's daddy. If we're going to be prosperous in this global society, we can't get sidetracked with minor things.
Sins that go against our skin become blessings. The movement is a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us. Justice is juxtaposition in us. Justice for all just ain't specific enough. One son died, his spirit is revisiting us. True and living in us. Resistance is us. That's why Rosa sat on the bus. That's why we walk through Ferguson with our hands up. When it go down, we woman and man up. They say stay down, and we stand up. Shots, we on the ground, the camera panned up. King pointed to the mountaintop, and we ran up.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours, it will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Oh, glory, glory, glory. Oh. Now the war is not over, victory isn't won, but we'll fight on to the finish, and then when it's all done, we'll cry glory, oh glory, oh, we'll cry glory, oh.
Now for every man, woman, and child. Even Jesus got his crown in front of a crowd. They march with the torch, we gon' run with it now. Never look back, we done gone hundreds of miles. From dark roads, heroes, to become a hero. Facing the League of Justice, his power was the people. Enemy is lethal, a king became regal. Saw the face of Jim Crow under a bald ego. The biggest weapon is to stay peaceful. We sing, our music is the cuts that we bleed through. Somewhere in the dream we had an epiphany. Now we right the wrongs in history. No one can win a war individually. It takes the wisdom of the elders and young people's energy. Welcome to the story we call victory. The coming of the Lord, my eyes have seen the glory.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be